It's a reasonable settlement offer. $1.5 million plus $500,000 severance.
Plus, you signed a confidentiality agreement.
That might put a little crimp in my plans.
To pen a tell-all book.
With at least 5 chapters about how my Zyre Motors expose cost me my anchor desk.
Well, that's the thing.
My company didn't fire him. I know because I have the email he wrote resigning. He quit. So why did I just offer him $2 million?
Because it's still less than what a trial wound up costing you.
Sam Russell won't settle. Eli won't let him.
How do you know?
I know Eli.
Personally, I think you should reject this offer and go to trial. If for no other reason than I don't want to take all this stuff down.
Hopefully among all that stuff, there's a way to get around that email I sent.
I'm not interested in getting around it. You didn't resign, Sam. You simply formalized their de facto firing of you.
It's called constructive termination. Basically, they're arguing that demoting Sam was tantamount to firing him.
Except I didn't demote him. My news director moved him to another time slot.
Which is exactly what we need you to say on the
I
stand.
don't have time to take the stand. I have a company to run.
Find the time, Mr. Buckley. Look, no jury will find Bay West Media sympathetic if its own CEO can't be bothered to tell its story.
You have a compelling story. You tried to tell the truth to corporate power, and you ended up getting exiled to 5 a.m.
Went from covering mayoral races to reporting about fender benders in the 101.
You're angry, Sam, and you have every reason to be. But if the jury sees that anger, we're dead.
Don't worry, I won't come off angry. Because I'm not. I'm concerned. They banished me because of a story they thought was critical to their advertisers. You think I'm the only anchor in the country with that problem? I'm not doing this because I need the money. I'm doing it because my entire career has been about bringing the truth to light. They want to take away my anchor desk, fine. I'll do it from the witness box.
All right, big day tomorrow. Get a good night's sleep.
Is that what you'll be doing?
No, I'll be writing voir dire questions and an opening statement. Well, drinking a lot of coffee.
Eli.
Will you excuse me for a moment? I think I'm about to cameo in my own Swords and Sandals movie.
I've heard you had your eccentricities, but this isn't exactly making me swell with confidence.
Don't worry, I won't blow you for the time. That reputation you got for eccentricity might be a little understated.
Don't tell me you want me to start looking into circus-related workman comp's claims.
No, just find out what gladiators or ancient Rome or Latin maybe have to do with the Russell case.
Oh, sure, that'll be a cinch. E pluribus, you numbskull. Do you want me to call Dr. Chen for you?
No.
Why not? You have the vision he interprets. Isn't that how it works?
When we're speaking to each other, which we're not. Just tell me what this means to you. Ancient Rome, 2 gladiators, and more gore than an inconvenient truth.
Here's an inconvenient truth. I don't do vision voodoo. Chen is the one you take that stuff to. It's bad enough you make me do all the paperwork.
Fine.
Any luck getting those documents Maggie hightailed out of Sonoma with?
And a good morning to you, too.
It would be a good morning if we had Bay West internal memos about our client. I mean, it's not like we're going to trial today. No, wait, we are.
I have a motion to compel locked and loaded. It should be a slam dunk.
Then why isn't Maggie playing by the rules
I
here?
have no idea. Maggie is usually very big with the rules.
So you don't know what's gotten into her?
Off the top of your head, do you foresee gladiators having any significance to our case?
Don't you have an acupuncturist on retainer for this sort of thing?
I'm not speaking to him.
What about your brother?
Him neither.
Well, you should. You don't want to talk to your acupuncturist, fine, but you should always talk to family.
Morning, Eli. Taylor.
Good morning.
I just need a muffin.
There are no muffins, sir.
Oh, well then.
It's fine. I was just leaving anyway.
Everything okay?
Just a little family spat. We'll be fine.
Okay. Well, I'm here, should you feel the need to.
Much as I appreciate your offer to be my personal Dr. Phil, Eli. Right now, what you should be worrying about is your case.
Yes, of course. What happened to you have to talk to family?
I meant you and your family. My circumstances are different.
Different how?
Hey, sweetie. Ready for trial?
Ready for documents. Theft of evidence is a felony.
And refusal to produce it to opposing counsel is an ethics violation.
Right, because you really want to lecture me on ethics here.
What did Stone do to piss her off?
No idea, but she's the one who absconded with our documents.
Well, technically, they're my documents. Actually, not even technically. They belong to my client.
Which your client is required to let me see. Obviously, it's no secret that you're sleeping with the enemy, huh?
No, the secret is I made a baby with her.
You think?
Oh, right.
Which reminds me to remind you that we've got a 3D ultrasound tomorrow at 2:30 sharp.
You know, in 3D, I'm going to be able to tell the gender.
We agreed to wait. And besides, whatever it has is going to be about 1 millimeter big.
Not if it takes after it's steady.
Leaving Sonoma without saying goodbye was one thing. Not returning my calls, that's another. And I get all that.
I'm so very glad.
Things are awkward between us. It's uncomfortable because of...
Is that American Sign Language for sleeping together?
My point is, freezing me out, that's one thing. But withholding evidence, that's totally something else. There are other people involved here.
Right. My clients. And they have an attorney willing to fight to protect their interests. Look, bottom line, I'll show you those files over my dead body or when a judge orders me to. Whichever comes first.
Then let's go see the judge, and we'll table the dead thing for later.
Let's.
This is ridiculous. The documents we've requested are totally relevant, but Miss Decker has refused to comply with 3 document requests and a motion to compel.
That's true, Your Honor.
Then why haven't you produced the documents as requested, Miss Decker?
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant it's true. I haven't complied with Mr. Stone's discovery requests. But that's because there's nothing in them that requires me to give him the documents.
Yes, there is. It's called the Rules of Civil Procedure.
If we actually had produced the documents, you'd have seen that Jennifer Contino, West Media's in-house counsel, was copied on every single one of them.
Which means they're privileged, which means we have no obligation to let Mr. Stone or anyone else see them.
You can't retroactively make something privileged by CCing counsel after the fact.
There's nothing retroactive about it. All the documents were dated before Sam Russell got moved to 5 a.m., which is the event Mr. Stone claims was tantamount to firing Mr. Russell.
Your Honor.
She's got you, Mr. Stone.
She doesn't have me.
No kidding.
In that the attorney-client
Save
privilege
it,
is not
Mr. Stone. Unless you can prove Miss Contino's not an attorney, not West Media's attorney, or that the memos were written to her after Russell got fired or quit, she's got you. So, any other pretrial motions?
I have one, Your Honor. I move to disqualify Mr. Stone.
You what? On what grounds?
He thinks he's a prophet. Several months ago, Mr. Stone stood in your courtroom and told you he received messages from the Almighty.
I believe my exact words were higher power, perhaps divine.
And last year, he predicted the Silver Terrace earthquake to some public notoriety.
Which actually supports the idea that I could be, special.
Which is an unfair advantage in a jury trial. What juror wouldn't be swayed by the fact plaintiff's counsel counts God as one of his clients?
She's right.
She is?
Insofar as the personal details of the trial attorneys may prejudice the jury.
Your Honor.
So we should make sure that they don't find out that Miss Decker and I slept together last week.
That is totally inappropriate and prejudicial.
I knew it was just a matter of time.
Come to think of it, she's also sleeping with opposing counsel.
That's irrelevant.
And now she's carrying his unborn child. And did I mention that Miss Weathersby and I used to be engaged?
So basically what you're saying is I'm the only person in this room who's not having sex with one of you.
And that Miss Decker's motion might be motivated more by personal issues than legal ones.
You wish.
Enough. Save it for your inevitable reality show. If Mr. Stone does work for God, I'm not going to chance damnation by disqualifying him. But if I hear any of you utter one more word about prophets, prophecies, or especially who's sleeping with whom, I will hold you in contempt, I swear. To Mr. Stone's boss.
I've worked at KNIB for 12 years. Until recently, we had the #1 news show in San Francisco. We did about an 18 share.
What about around the time you offered Mr. Russell the morning show?
Down to an 11.3. We were hemorrhaging viewers and ranked 3rd among the affiliates.
So you fired him?
No. I offered him the morning news. It's a less competitive time slot. Frankly, I thought Sam would be grateful.
Thank you.
You, offered Sam the morning news the day after you killed one of his stories, an expose on unsafe working conditions at a local Zire Motors plant.
I didn't kill anything.
We'll get to that. What relationship, if any, does KNIB have with Zire Motors?
Zire is one of our advertisers. Nearly every major auto manufacturer is.
But Zire is your station's 3rd largest advertiser. How upset would you say Zire was with Mr. Russell's expose? Scale of 1 to 10.
I wouldn't know.
But you pulled a piece anyway, just in case.
I didn't pull it. It got bumped by stories I deemed more important.
What was the more important piece you ran that night?
I don't recall.
I had a feeling you wouldn't, so I looked it up. You replaced the Zire Motors report with a public safety story. Bilingual bandit strikes the Bay Area.
We felt it was the more compelling story.
I've never been held up in 2 languages, so I'll take your word for it. Why didn't you air the Zire Motors report the next night? Did the bilingual bandit strike again?
No, but news cycles are getting shorter and shorter. We can't stay competitive with cable and internet by airing yesterday's news.
Oh, I forgot. Hazardous working conditions are so last year.
All right, for Russell, I think we should send in the magster. After what she did to Stone yesterday, can't afford not to use a little pit bull. Plus, the jury eats her innocent act right up.
You know, I'm sitting right here, don't you?
Sorry, I should take this.
Hi, sweetie. Yeah, take all the time you want, Dad. It's not like we're in trial here or anything.
Look, I can't find my keys. I'm gonna be late, all right? Tell the nurse when you get there, though, so she can sign us in.
Listen, we have a strategy meeting.
Well, so do I. But I'm not going. I mean, we only get to see our fetus in 3D once. I thought you were excited about this.
I am. It's just a bad time. I don't think I should leave. Listen, I am really, really sorry. I just can't make it today.
I'm one of 2 lawyers on our side. You have enough to field a baseball team, but somehow I can make it, because it's important to me.
It's important to me, too. But I have to triage. I can't move this meeting, but you can get the nurse to burn me a DVD.
Right. I forgot how babies can be time-shifted.
The media has changed. The news division used to be a public service, something the broadcaster did in exchange for using the public airwaves. Now it's just another way to make a buck.
Objection.
She's about to point out how that doesn't seem related to you leaving the station.
It's related because news has become a profit center, and I threatened the station's profits.
With the Zire Motors piece?
I was demoted to 5 a.m. drive time one day after they killed that story, so you tell me, Mr. Stone.
What's a Q score.
It's a way of measuring an on-air personality's familiarity and appeal.
Would it surprise you to learn that your Q score has been in decline for the past 2 years? I'm assuming since you're probably not less familiar to people, it was because you became less appealing.
Objection.
Well, I'll put it another way. What's more likely? A conspiracy to keep Sam Russell away from an anchor desk? Or a desire to replace him with someone who can pull in a larger audience?
You make my point for me, Ms. Decker. In the days of Cronkite and Murrow, decisions were not made based on Q scores and share points.
You're right. Murrow's show was canceled because it lost its sponsor.
It's like she went back to law school when I wasn't paying attention.
Don't underestimate the ambition of a woman scorned.
What does that mean?
Are you kidding?
Oh, you think she's out to get me because I...
Got her, yeah. You motivated her to beat you in ways that go way beyond the normal courtroom ass whooping.
So all last year, I was trying to figure out how to make her a better lawyer, and the whole time I should have just slept with her.
My loyal foot soldiers. How'd it go today?
Not great.
She's right. Somewhere between great and not so much.
Sam's testimony wasn't exactly the grand slam we were counting on.
That's, unfortunate.
You make unfortunate sound so much worse than unfortunate.
It's something we can discuss after the trial.
Sir, we're partners. I'm not sure keeping secrets is going to do either one of us any good.
I didn't want to say anything to either of you. We're already operating under enough pressure.
What's wrong?
I just got off the phone with our accountants. We were treading water before the financial crisis made getting a line of credit difficult.
What are you saying?
That if we don't win the Russell case, and win big, we'll be joining Mr. Russell on the unemployment line.
I had something on my mind. Looked like trouble in the city. It was time to cross the line.
Matt.
Hi.
I might still be sleeping, but I'm pretty sure you didn't stay here last night.
I let myself in. Hope you don't mind. I wanted to surprise you.
With blueberry pancakes?
Yeah.
This is an incredibly good-smelling apology.
Tastes even better. I am sorry. I wanted to be there. I should have been there. I just felt weird bailing out on my team, you know?
In the middle of the World Series, I get it. They're the Yankees, and I'm playing for the Red Sox.
Well, not exactly, because the Yankees and Red Sox would never play each other in the World Series. But anyway, it's just a trial.
Yeah.
You do know your client's not facing the death penalty here, right?
Not my client, my firm. You can't use this, okay? This is boyfriend-girlfriend confidence, okay? Two people who made a baby together, privileged.
I must have missed that class in law school. What's going on?
The new firm is sinking. We're in massive debt. We can't get credit. We need an infusion of cash, and the only way we can do that is a huge win in the Russell case, a.k.a. a miracle.
You okay?
I mean, aside from being pregnant and about to be unemployed?
Yeah. I'm so sorry. Look, I wasn't going to mention this, but since you're kind of opening the door here, P&K's got an opening for a family lawyer.
When Weathersby Stone goes down, if it goes down, there are about 100 other firms I could work at that don't employ the father of my baby.
But they probably won't hire you in your current condition, which would be sexist and detestable.
Whereas Posner Klein is just detestable. No, I'd rather be a stay-at-home mom.
Hey, I work for that detestable firm, remember?
Yeah, I know. I spend most days trying to forget that.
It's an impossible situation. What the internet and 24/7 cable news started, the recession and credit tsunami is threatening to finish. Hard choices have to be made if evening news of any stripe is going to survive.
Including pandering to advertisers?
Neither Bay West nor its affiliates have ever pandered to anyone, including Zaire Motors.
Which paid Bay West Media $3 million last year alone.
In ad revenue, which buys the right to advertise, not editorialize.
So Sam Russell's contention that the evening news is driven by corporate interests
is offensive and completely unfounded.
What about moving him to the 5 a.m. traffic and weather slot?
One of the hard choices I alluded to earlier. But evening news ratings have gone up 5 points since, so it's not one I regret.
It must have been difficult for you to find a worthy replacement for 3-time DuPont, 2-time Peabody Award-winning journalist Sam Russell.
It's been a challenge, but we have a great deal of confidence in Kimberly Chavez.
I've seen a few of her segments. I can see why.
Cardiff fainted from toxic chemicals during a sunless spray tan session because the spray gun's tubes weren't properly cleaned. But Ashley didn't let that stop her from attending the Sons and Daughters Foundation benefit at the San Francisco Zoo.
Well, I know I'm going to cancel my spray tan appointment this afternoon.
All local affiliates fill their lineup with some fluff pieces. It's not that hard to find them.
No, but what is becoming increasingly hard to find at your news station is any real news.
What's considered real news is a matter of opinion.
You're right. Let's use a clear standard. How many investigative reports has Kimberly Chavez done on your corporate sponsor since replacing Sam Russell?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember.
That's surprising, since 0 is a pretty easy number to remember. You also probably don't remember what the top story was on your competitors' programs the night Kimberly aired her hard-hitting spray tan expose. It was a story about how your parent company's CEO was indicted for stock fraud.
You were brilliant.
Thank you.
You totally supported the emerging theory that if I sleep with someone, it endows them with superior courtroom skills.
I think I'm beginning to understand the problem you have with women.
Posso offrirti qualcosa da bere? Excuse me. Is this, am I in Rome?
Eh sì, Roma, Roma!
Quella bella ragazza, for me, eh? Thank you. Hey.
Oh, mi scusi, Basaro.
Eli, what are you... So what was that about? Another vision?
It's Rome again. Modern day this time. And Maggie was there, and I couldn't get to her.
Maybe because you already did back in Sonoma.
Okay. Shouldn't have slept with her, but there was wine, and I've been dealing with some stuff.
And you love her? Okay, maybe it's not love yet, but it's something.
Yeah, it's called platonic affection. What?
Eli, why are you the only person who doesn't seem to be aware that you feel something for Maggie? Okay, maybe it's not love, but it's definitely not platonic affection. You two belong together. It's obvious to everybody else except you.
Okay. Maybe. What if Maggie was just available? I've been feeling very alone lately. You know? Like there's no one for the guy with the divine calling.
I think there is, Eli. I think she's been right in front of you the entire time. You just haven't seen it. It's like the aneurysm woke up every part of you, except your heart.
So what do I do?
Talk to her.
Can we talk?
All rise.
Apparently not.
Be seated.
All right. Next witness?
The defense calls Jesse Bates.
Your Honor, Jesse Bates is not on their witness list.
I listed 3 former KNIB employees as John Doe witnesses. Ms. Bates was a producer at NIB for 13 years.
Your Honor.
Overruled, counsel. I'll give you more time to prepare if you want.
You're here under subpoena, aren't you, Ms. Bates?
Yes. I enjoyed the sheriff's visit to my home very much. Thank you.
Seek to treat us hostile?
Granted.
Did you produce Sam Russell's piece on Zyre Motors?
Yes.
So you would be in a position to know whether that piece had any relationship to the decision to move Mr. Russell to the morning show?
I really don't know.
Best guess, then.
The news director, Mr. Church, moved Sam the next day.
But did Mr. Church propose to Sam a move to the morning show a full 6 months earlier, before the Zyre piece was even investigated?
Is there a point here?
Well, only that if Sam Russell really believed that being moved to 5 a.m. was the same as getting fired, he would have stopped showing up for work 6 months earlier. But he didn't, did he?
You're not an attorney, so you probably don't know why this would be important. But you know what would have been helpful? Knowing that the thing that we rested your entire case on, the idea that moving you to 5 a.m. was as good as firing you, was discussed a good 6 months before you quit.
Being discussed is a little different than it being done.
Semantics. Lawyers and judges and apparently news anchors care about them, but jurors don't. To them, it just looks like you quit, which is a little detrimental to our claim that you got fired.
Right. I forgot. A jury's just 12 people too stupid to get out of jury duty, incapable of parsing distinctions, incapable of thinking for themselves. You know what you sound like, Eli?
A trial attorney trying to win.
Bay West Media. Sorry, Sam. That story's just gonna go right over the public's head. Sorry, Sam, but they're just not gonna understand that. Sorry, Sam, it's just too darn confusing, Sam. I have a theory. You can say I bet my whole career on it. I think people are only as dumb as we treat them. I think people only act like morons if they're treated like morons. What do you think?
I think Taylor and I have a long night ahead of us.
I'll let you get to it then.
They could hear you on the first floor. I would tell you that berating clients is bad for business, but that would imply we have any business.
Sorry, we had a setback.
Well, maybe I can help brainstorm a solution. Perhaps bring a fresh perspective.
We're
That
fine.
would be great.
Right. Of course.
Don't worry. We'll find a rabbit to pull here. A little more of that Arctic wind and the polar bears might have a home again.
I want to talk about it, okay?
What could be so bad for you to treat him like that when his firm's about 3 inches from belly up?
How about chasing my mother out of town and lying to me about it for 20 years?
Okay, that's bad enough. I'm so sorry. Are you okay?
I fluctuate. Luckily, I've got Matt to take it out on.
I guess you're right to be angry. I recently found out that someone was responsible for my dad's death. It's been a little hard to get over.
Why do I sense a but coming on?
But, more than anyone I know, Jordan's been trying to change who he was.
Oh, the phrase too little, too late comes to mind. You know, if he had just told me all this years ago when I still needed a mother, I would have been furious, but at least there would have been time to fix things, you know?
And now?
My mother lives 1,000 miles away. It's been decades. I think the window of opportunity has closed.
the window of opportunity.
Care to run that by me again?
Happily, Your Honor. The other day, you ruled that we couldn't review the Bay West documents that we requested because they were protected by attorney-client privilege.
Because they are.
Because you said that all the documents were dated before Sam Russell was moved to 5 a.m.
But yesterday, Ms. Bates altered that timeline. Now it's obvious that the documents were written after the 5 a.m. move was proposed.
We really should be thanking you, actually.
The documents were still copied to in-house counsel.
After apparently the wheels were put in motion. Miss Weathersby was right when she said you can't retroactively make something privileged. Make sure those documents are delivered to Weathersby, Stone and Associates by end of business today. Now get out of here.
This is huge.
Easy, killer. I don't know if there's anything in there that's going to help us.
If there wasn't, Maggie would have just produced them, if for no other reason than to waste our time reviewing them.
Posner and Crime just delivered your documents.
That was fast.
I know. I thought it would take them forever just to unload the truck.
Unload the truck? How many documents could there be? What was that you said about wasting our time?
I can't believe you would do this.
Let me guess. You got the boxes.
The judge ordered you to produce those documents.
Which we did.
No, you hid them in a ton of crap.
Well, that's one interpretation.
And that's just more crap, you know? Is this how your new firm does business, Matt? Is this how you do business?
We're in trial, Taylor. It's just tactics.
Circumventing a court order to hide evidence isn't a tactic. It's illegal. And as morally ambiguous as you pretend to be, there was a time you knew the difference.
Okay, that's fair. I'll own that.
But,
and I wouldn't be floating this if I weren't safely 8 city blocks away, this anger's a bit of an overreaction. Is it possible some of it's dad-related?
yes, it is dad-related. You know what? It's related to the kind of dad you're going to be, which is related to the kind of person you are.
That's not fair.
I don't think you've got much credibility right now when it comes to fairness, Matt.
What are we even looking for, Eli? The box that says secret smoking gun document in here?
It would be nice if they were that obvious about it.
We need some kind of system and some more manpower. Perhaps hire some temps.
I don't think that's going to be necessary. This is the one. Do you recall writing an email to Ryan Church?
He's the news director of one of my affiliates. I recall writing hundreds of emails to him.
How about this one? If you could read it aloud, please.
Church, heard about Russell's auto plant story. Needless to say, Zaire's not throwing him a parade. Take care of the problem, DB.
I guess since Zaire Motors only purchased the right to advertise, not editorialize, you just threw in the problem solving for free.
Mr. Buckley, can you read the portion of this email where you specifically asked Mr. Church to fire Mr. Russell?
No, because I never did.
So what was the problem with Zaire Motors that you wanted Mr. Church to fix? If it would help, I could have the judge remind you what the penalties are for perjury.
The problem was Sam.
What about him, specifically?
Zaire wanted assurance Sam wouldn't keep pushing his story.
I guess Sam wouldn't have much of a reason to for the 5 a.m. traffic report, huh?
Eli, don't let your window close.
What? You think it's open now? She can't be too happy with me after what I did back in there.
Which is why you need to do this now, before she's grown too much scar tissue over her wounds.
You know I slept with her, right? I didn't hit her with a baseball bat.
Oh.
Come on.
Hey!
Come here.
What? Ow, my wrist is fine, thanks.
Sorry, but we have to talk.
No, you want to talk. Slight distinction.
Yeah, right. I want to talk. So all you got to do is listen. Okay? Firstly, I am... Look, I'm sorry about Sonoma. What we did, it was wonderful. It was great. And I'm glad we did it. And the next morning, I had to think about my feelings. Especially in light of your feelings, which you told me are substantial.
Were substantial.
What?
I tried every conceivable way to get over you. I got engaged. I left the firm. Never in a million years would I think that sleeping together would actually help me get over you. So thank you. You gave me closure.
So why have you been so, why have things been so personal with the case?
No, it's not personal. I'm trying to win, Eli. I can't beat you and be friends with you at the same time. I can't multitask like that. But after I beat you, we can go for coffee. Catch up.
As friends.
Yeah. Exactly.
In a minute, Bay West's lawyer is going to stand here, and she's going to remind you how Sam Russell quit his job. But the reality is, you cannot quit a job that's already been taken away from you. Sam Russell was removed from his job anchoring the Bay Area Evening News. That's indisputable. It's uncontested. But the fact is that Sam lost his job much earlier than that. He's been losing it bit by little bit for years. When the news division at Bay West Media became part of the entertainment division. When the wall between the boardroom and the newsroom grew so thin as to become non-existent. And when television journalism became just something else to fill time between commercials. And yes, when his corporate bosses decided that if they couldn't shut him up, then they would force him out. And they did. Sam Russell has been silenced. And now the only one who can tell Bay West Media that the media needs to start living up to its responsibilities is you.
You know, he's absolutely right. The news media has lost its moral center. It's become dominated by corporate interest. Katie Couric went on record saying that she felt corporate pressure to cast the Iraq war in a positive light. Even President Bush's former press secretary ironically refers to the liberal media because it's become so focused on advancing Republican policies which benefit, guess who? Corporations. The journalistic spirit that ended McCarthyism and exposed Watergate has been co-opted into making the case for WMDs in Iraq and ignoring calamity in New Orleans. And that's when it's not preoccupied by Lindsay Lohan and Britney Spears. And when you consider how critical a free press is in a democracy like ours, it's particularly loathsome. But you want to know what's really loathsome? Trying to convert your justifiable outrage into a personal financial windfall. If Sam Russell were really that concerned about the state of the media, he wouldn't have quit. He would have stayed on and worked to change the system from the inside, rather than running to you for a handout.
It could go either way.
Then it won't inconvenience them to go our way.
Even if they rule for us, for Sam, there's little guarantee of a money judgment sufficient to keep our lights on.
Thank you, Mr. Optimist.
Just being truthful.
But along those lines, you two made me very proud. I couldn't fathom two attorneys I'd rather practice with.
So you'll be retiring then? Hello? You want me to... Why? Okay. I'll be back in a moment. What? Okay, I'm not gonna bother telling you how weird this is. I have a settlement offer, which you felt the need to make in a closet. Does the offer involve us making out? Because no offense, but I just...
It's quite possible the rest of my team doesn't know about this offer, but my client does. And he's willing to pay Sam $5 million.
Does Sam have to make out with you?
This is serious. It's a public perception thing. Sam still got a few fans. $5 million buys an end to the settlement and a public statement saying he resigned.
Sam's gonna have a problem with that.
Not as big a problem as you've got. 1/3 contingency on $5 million. It's Weathersby Stone's life raft, okay? Don't go until like a minute after I'm out the door, of course. Should I even consider this?
It's a lot of money.
Enough to start over. Put all this behind you.
But I want them to admit that what they did was wrong. Not just wrong, but disrespectful. Mercenary turpitude.
Sorry, Sam, but that kind of admission just doesn't happen in the real world. Certainly not in the world of corporate America. Yes, they might take a hit from the jury, but they also might not. At least this way you're guaranteed something. And after they pay you $5 million, Bay West is going to think twice about trying to silence another reporter.
I see your point.
So you'll take it?
Do I have a choice?
Of course you have a choice. Sam, you were wrong. The station forced you out. We all know that. And by allowing them to get away with it, we are allowing corporate greed to roll over journalistic ethics, to neuter the First Amendment. You need to stand up for what is right.
But there is a cost to that.
Yes, to your conscience. Sleepless nights and anxious mornings when the reality of your mistakes plague you the most, when you realize that you've compromised your principles, that you've done the wrong thing. Believe me when I tell you, living with regret is much harder than living with defeat. You've come this far. If you settle now, I'm afraid you lose something far worse than a trial.
He's right.
I know it. No deal.
I'll go tell Matt. Maggie!
Ciao, mia bella ragazza.
Ciao.
We, the jury, in the matter of Samuel Russell versus Bay West Media Incorporated, find in favor of the defendant.
Congratulations. Not only is there a nice paycheck in it for us, but we got to nail Weathersby, Stone and Associates where it really hurts. The wallets. And I would especially like to thank Maggie Decker, whose sweet voice and placid demeanor belie her inner animal. She was a panther out there, people. All right, unless you can figure out a client to bill for eating cupcakes, get back to work. Dowd, a word? Actually, it's 2 words. Never again. You know what I'm referring to?
Pretty sure I've got an idea.
You're lucky they turned down that offer. And you're lucky our client won. Now, I don't see you getting lucky 3 times in a row. Do you?
You're a bit over your word limit there.
What are we gonna do? Well, there's still some paintings I can sell. Some bills we can defer payment on. Maybe by 6 months, maybe a little less.
You're not alone in this, Dad. Why are you smiling?
Just nice to hear you call me Dad. Hey, Matt.
What are you doing here?
I heard Keith got my old office. That's just an unacceptable situation. And so is Posner Klein. At least that's what it's turned out to be.
So you're...
Well, you're always going on about how your dad says this place is about making up for past mistakes. I thought I'd give that a try.
Not to rain on your parade, but has anyone actually offered you a job here?
How would you like to have a job here?
Not to sound ungrateful, but we can't even afford to pay you minimum wage.
Ah, no. Take Stone's name off the door, we'll call it even.
Nice try.
You were right. I want to show the little Dowd or Dowdette what it means to stand up for the things you care about.
She's gonna be very lucky to have you as a dad.
Gee.
I couldn't help it when I went to the doctor the other day. I had to know. I hope you're not mad.
No, I'm not mad. I'm having a girl. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, if you just call up to the office, she'll let me in. It's Maggie Decker. 2 Ks.
You looking for Maggie? We just missed her. She's probably outside.
Thank you.
Maggie!
Here. I think my window closed.
Sometimes we see things we don't want to see.
I don't need to hear it. I already dreamt it. I saw it all.